Hello, thank you for viewing Accounting, Producers and Consumers by GatorGrades. Accounting, Producers and Consumers. The marketplace consists of producers who make products, customers who make purchases, and consumers who use the items. The business market. The market for a business includes producers who make and distribute goods and services, and the consumers who provide demand for goods and services. You may be familiar with these terms, producers and consumers, from science class. Are we talking about lions and plants as producers and consumers? Nope. This is a business class. In this class, our producers and consumers are businesses that sell products or offer services, and the customers that complete purchases or use products. A producer will often manufacture a product, but they may not sell it to the final user of the product. If producers don't sell them to the final user of the product, who do they sell to? Producers often sell to distributors that will provide the products to a business or directly to a retail business. The movement of goods from producer to consumers follows a structured path known as the distribution chain or supply chain. It begins with the manufacturer who creates the goods using raw materials, machinery, and labor. Once produced, these goods are sent to distributors, who purchase large quantities from manufacturers, store them, and deliver the goods efficiently to various retail stores. Retailers then display and sell the products in smaller quantities to individual shoppers who make purchasing decisions influenced by price and preference and may be purchasing goods for their own use or for the use by other people. At the end of the distribution chain or supply chain, the goods reach the end user, who is the consumer that will use the goods. This entire process helps goods move from production to consumption, connecting producers and consumers. Producers. A producer purchases materials and parts and pieces to combine together into a final product that will be offered for sale. A hen is a producer of eggs. But is the hen the consumer? The hen lays the egg, and the farmer is the human producer that can work with the wholesaler or the final consumer. The farmer may arrange transportation to complete the sale of the eggs to another human producer, the baker. The baker will use the raw materials, in this example the eggs, as part of the finished product sold to the consumer eating at a restaurant and the shopper who pays the check at the end of the meal. Looking at the talented cooking skills the baker is showing us here, one thing we also know, the baker will likely produce a yummy meal at the restaurant. Let's consider some pictures while we ask, what do they produce? Who do they sell to? Who is the consumer? Picture 1 shows us homes under construction that are first being built. What does this builder produce? That's correct. They produce homes. Well, who do they sell to? Perhaps people who will live in or rent the home. Who is the consumer? The consumer may be the person who will live in the home or the person who will offer the home for rent. Picture 2. What is being produced in this picture? Yes, it is a car whose production is not yet complete. When complete, who might the producer sell to? Possible answers may be a car dealership or a business adding to a fleet of vehicles. Who is the consumer? Who might be using these vehicles? If sold to a car dealership, an individual may have it in their driveway right now. If purchased as an addition to a business vehicle fleet, perhaps delivery driver will use the vehicle to bring packages to your home. The final buyer or the one using the vehicle would be the consumer. As we continue to explore the idea of producers and consumers, looking at this picture, what do they produce? That is correct. Guitars, and in this store, they produce 50 guitars by hand each month. Who might be the consumer for this guitar manufacturer? If you thought of a retail music store, that is a wonderful idea. What do they sell in a retail music store? Guitars, cases, amplifiers, guitar picks, and strings are likely found in this store. And who do they sell to? Who is the customer of the retail music store? Individual band members, as an end user consumer, or perhaps family and friends purchasing gifts for a music hobbyist that will be the end user consumer. Consumers. Consumers are those who purchase a good or service for their own use or benefit. Consumers generally do not plan to promptly resell the item at the time of purchase. Customers are the person or business that purchases the good or service, such as a restaurant that purchases eggs to use when preparing meals for customers. Consumers are the end users and who often does not plan to promptly resell the item following the time of purchase, such as a restaurant guest who orders the double egg two toast breakfast for themselves from the restaurant menu. Let's listen in on a phone call between a producer who supplies materials to a business and a producer who is seeking materials.
Hello, United Group. This is Miss Sellers.
Hi, Miss Sellers. I'm calling to place an order for account number 328. We just received a big purchase order and will need 10 times our usual order. Your HG28 and $99 a gallon.
I will need to check with my boss to see if we can meet that demand. Please hold. My manager informed me that we can meet your request, but two of your competitors recently also placed large orders. The new price is $140 a gallon.
I'll have to check with my backup supplier. That's a big price increase.
What event is causing the price to increase? Yes, that high customer demand for the item is driving up the price. Perhaps the backup supplier will be able to provide agreeable terms for the purchase. Supply. Supply is the quantity of goods or services that are available for a customer to buy. As the customer demand for the item increases, the price for the item will also likely increase. Consider this question. How does a manufacturer know how much of a product to have in their supply available to sell to a customer? A manufacturer will carefully watch the trends in the market as well as consider their prior year sales. How does an increase in demand impact the price of the supply? A market that grows quickly will give consumers, buyers, more money to spend. Since more shoppers will be available to spend money, the demand for the product will increase. Manufacturers may not have enough time to produce product to meet the demand. In this case, demand will go up and the price will go up per item because the demand has gone up as more people want the product. Since more customers want the product, the manufacturer may also choose to make more because they would like to sell more. When there is an increase in available product, the demand will be met and the price will move to a more consistent price. When you think of a supply curve, do you think of picture A, which shows a motorcycle steering around a curve, or picture B, which shows us how a change in quantity impacts the price of an item? While picture A is showing a big curve, this is not a supply curve. Picture B is a supply curve that shows the relationship between the price of a good or service and the quantity of the item that producers are interested in supplying to the marketplace. Let's relate the idea of a supply curve relationship between quantity and price to your everyday life. How many times would you wash your neighbor's car if they offer you $1 each time? Perhaps you would not wash their car for $1 and share a polite, "No, but thank you for asking." But what if that same neighbor, for the same car, offered to pay you $20 each time you wash their car? If it's a nice day and you have the time, $20 for washing a car can be agreeable. But how many times would you wash your neighbor's car if they offered you $100 each time? Perhaps you would even ask your neighbor if they would be interested in a daily car wash. The summary: as the price your neighbor is willing to pay for the car wash increases, the quantity of the number of car washes that you are willing to supply your neighbor will also increase. Demand is an indication of the number of consumers who will purchase a specific item at a specific price. Often consumers will demand more of an item when it has a lower price. What is the difference between a customer and a consumer? A customer purchases the item from a business. A consumer may also be a customer who purchased the item, but a consumer is the person who uses the item. As a business increases the price for an item, consumers will typically purchase less, and this idea is reflected on the demand curve. The relationship between the item price and the quantity consumers demand to buy at that price is known as the demand curve. Let's discuss a popular new trend, and imagine you are an owner of a business that is part of the trend. What is the new trend? Furniture photos. Oh, look, one of your best customers is stopping by to say hello. Mr. Detective, can you share what is the best advice you share? Hello, thank you for asking. The number one idea I give my clients is to enjoy furniture photos. My clients can now protect their privacy by not being in photos and enjoy getting a picture of their furniture to a friend or family member. As the owner of furniture photos, if the new trend continues and the demand of your product increases, how will you adjust your price per photo? Do you think you would raise your price as the demand increases? That is a reasonable thought as it reflects a demand curve. As demand increases, the price increases. Let's review a few terms before you go. What are producers? They make goods with a plan to sell the items. Consumers: the people or consumers that will be the end users and use the item. Customers: buy items from a business, may or may not be the consumer. What is supply? A lot of supply can push the price lower. And what is demand? A lot of demand will push the price per item higher. Thank you for learning with GatorGrades. To see more videos developed for teen learning, please like and subscribe. I hope to learn with you again soon.